how do we know that the three Court of Appeals judges, Murray, Talbert, and Judge Servito, knew or should have known about the newly amended Supreme Court order regarding MCR 2.003, disqualification of the judge? By simply examining their December. Although the following information is directed to the legal community, you, the public, are welcome to consider it as well. In addressing the issue of disqualification, pursuant to August 25, 2010 transcript, Judge Amy P. Hathaway denied Mrs. Smith's motion to disqualify her by stating, among other things, and I quote, "I am not personally biased," unquote. That was done in violation of the newly Supreme Court order dated November the 25th, 2009, ADM 2009-04, amendment to MCR 2.003. In that order, the Supreme Court deleted the word personally and added the words risk of actual bias to the grounds in which a judge is disqualified. That was to protect the party's due process right. In addition, Judge Amy Hathaway also violated that same Supreme Court order under MCR 2.003, parentheses C, parentheses 1, parentheses B, parentheses II. That states, and I quote the Supreme Court, "The judge has, based on objective and reasonable perception, failed to adhere to the appearance of impropriety standard set forth in Canon 2 of the Michigan Code of Judicial Conduct," unquote. The common person is cognizant that Judge Amy Hathaway's intentional lie was an act of impropriety, or at least the appearance thereof. Subsequently, in compliance with the court rules, Mrs. Smith filed a motion before the Chief Judge Virgil Smith, who supported Judge Amy Hathaway's violation of the Supreme Court's order. Now, let us see how far-reaching that support of judicial corruption is. Cited outdated precedents as stare decisis, namely but not limited, on pages 7, 8, and 10 of their per curiam. Particularly on page 10, in their final ruling, this is what the Court of Appeals judges decided. And I quote, "Moreover, the Chief Judge did not abuse his discretion in denying Mrs. Smith's motion to disqualify Judge Hathaway because Smith failed to produce evidence of personal bias or actual bias by the trial court." Here, 3 Court of Appeals judges intentionally interfered with the machinery of Michigan Supreme Court's already established order under MCR 2.003 to assure the impartial function of judging cases for fair adjudication. Now, how do we know that the 3 Court of Appeals judges, Murray, Judge Talbert, and Judge Servito, knew or should have known about the newly Michigan Supreme Court order amending MCR 2.003 regarding disqualification of judges? Well, by simply examining their December the 27th, 2010 order, wherein both Judge Michael Talbert and Judge Deborah Servito refers to the newly amended Supreme Court order, quoting MCR 2.003 under the new procedure in that new order, namely, parentheses D, parentheses 3, parentheses A, and parentheses I. When they denied Mrs. Smith her motion to disqualify both of them in this exact same case, docket number 300359. Our Supreme Court has taken painstaking measures to ensure that the interests of the legal community and the general public are best served by putting in writing its Supreme Court recusal rules. That was according to our Supreme Court Justice Marilyn Kelly. And the Supreme Court has promulgated that newly amended order regarding disqualification of judges to promote justice and public confidence in the impartiality of our judicial process. So what do we have here? Not only 2 lower court judges disobeying the Supreme Court's order, but 3 of the Court of Appeals judges blatantly and knowingly infringing the Supreme Court's order, ultimately warring against the Constitution. That's outrageous. If we can't trust judges to obey the Supreme Court, what happens to our protection under the Constitution? Yes, our Constitution has amply been described as the umbrella for mankind to ward off the storms of injustice. However, when judges violate the laws and the Supreme Court orders that actually mesh the fabrics of the Constitution together, they're putting holes in our Constitution, thereby allowing crime, violence, abuse, and the likes to shower down on mankind, causing not only us, but our posterity to lament and cry out.
Constitution, help me! What Constitution?